Hey, and welcome to video 3 in my series on Home Assistant and NodeRed. Today what we're going to be talking about is adding username password authentication to our Home Assistant instance and our NodeRed instance. And the main reason for this is because in the next couple videos we're going to be adding hardware and creating automations that require us to have our Home Assistant and NodeRed instances available to the open internet. And obviously we don't want someone to stumble across our IP and then be able to therefore control our whole automation system. So we're going to add a little bit of password security to that, and that should keep us safe once our instances are available over the net. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is log into our automation machine. I'm already there, and we're going to go check out our Home Assistant directory. So cd, and inside our Home Assistant directory we have a file called secrets.yaml. I'll explain what that is in just a second, but for now just open it up. Inside secrets.yaml you'll see there's just one YAML field called HTTP password. That's the one we're actually going to be using, so I'm glad it's here. We'll just delete that default password of welcome and set our own password. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use the word password for the passwords I'm setting up right now. Obviously I'll change it after the video is over, but for now I'm just going to use that. Obviously you use whatever you want, something hopefully more secure than the word password. But anyway, just save and quit, and now we're going to check out our configuration.yaml file. Okay, so if you scroll down in your configuration.yaml file to the HTTP section, you will see one of the commented fields here says API password. In that field, you'll see that it's doing a special call out using an exclamation point for secret, and it's specifying HTTP_password. So what that's actually doing is it's telling Home Assistant to look inside our secrets file, the one we just opened, in the field HTTP_password, the one that was already there, and to derive our password from that value that's set in the file. And that does a couple things for us. That actually allows us to set separate permissions for our configuration.yaml and our secrets file, which can be important if you're using a computer in a group setting, or if you for some reason want certain files to be more permissive than others in terms of your configuration versus your passwords. That gives you that option. The other thing it does for us is it allows us to share our configuration.yaml files with others, or post them in forums if we're experiencing problems or whatever, without exposing our sensitive passwords. So anything that is sensitive enough that you don't want it shared with others, you can use the secrets.yaml file to add those fields so that people can't see your sensitive data when you're sharing it for whatever reason. That's just what it's for. So uncomment the API password portion out here, and that's actually all we need to do for now. If we save and quit this and restart Home Assistant, we should now have a password protected Home Assistant instance. It's very easy. So sudo system restart HASS. Okay, let's check it out. Automation 8123. There we go. We're now presented with a password screen as expected. Just enter your password to be let in, and everything is normal as it should be. So good, our Home Assistant instance is now password protected. Let's move on to NodeRed. NodeRed is slightly more complicated and it requires some additional tools to be installed. We can install these tools and packages from npm just like we installed NodeRed, so I'll show you how to do that now. Do a sudo npm install -g -s and we're going to be installing bcrypt.js and NodeRed admin. So the install process will start, and this will do its thing. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's not so bad. There we go, all done. So now we have NodeRed admin and bcrypt.js installed. NodeRed admin is a tool that can do various admin tasks for NodeRed, kind of just like it sounds. NodeRed isn't so simple in its authentication scheme as Home Assistant. NodeRed doesn't want you to fill in a plain text password in any config files. It wants you to use a password hash, and it will hash any password attempts and compare hashes rather than comparing, letter for letter plain text. So let's get started with that. I'll do a NodeRed admin, and we'll use the command #pw. Okay, so we're prompted for a password. Again, I'm just going to use the word password, but you use whatever you want. And it will drop us a hash, which is basically an encrypted version of the password we just gave it, which is just a jumble of garbled letters that are harder for humans to understand than machines. So we'll copy that, and we'll go into our NodeRed directory, which is from your home directory .nodered, and we're going to open up settings.js. In this file, there's various configuration options, but we are looking specifically for the securing NodeRed section. So get rid of these / comments on everything from admin auth to the closing curly braces down here. Okay, so you'll see we have some pre-populated values here. These are just example values, really. What we're going to do is we're actually going to delete this all the way. So it's just leaving the double quotes, and we will insert the hash we just copied and generated. The username admin is fine. I'm just going to use netadmin because so it matches more up with my current configuration, but whatever you want to add as username is fine. As you can see, and as also you can see, the permissions level of this user we just defined is global. It's just a star, meaning everything. So you'll be able to do, with this user, you'll be able to do anything you were able to do before. So we will save and quit, and now we'll restart NodeRed. And NodeRed is restarted, so let's go check that out. Okay, as expected, we now have a password prompt on NodeRed. So netadmin password, and we're signed in. Now, if you're looking closely, you might actually be able to see that we have something different going on here. All of our Home Assistant, or at least our connected Home Assistant nodes here, have a disconnected sign showing underneath it. Now, clearly this is because we just set a password in Home Assistant and we haven't told NodeRed what that password is yet, but it's important to not miss this, because if you just set a password and then walk away from your machine without checking all these things, assume your automations are running, they won't be running. So let's double click on any of our Home Assistant nodes, and in the server field where we defined Home Assistant before, we'll go to the edit button. And we can see here there's a blank field where we can fill in our API password. So my API password is password. We will click update and done. And we're still disconnected here. As you know, until we click deploy, nothing goes live. So we'll click deploy and things get connected up almost instantly. Do a quick check. I just toggled on and off my Office Lite, which is working. And we can see that messages are in the delay node and whatnot. So this is all working good. This is all I really wanted to accomplish with this video. Like I said, in the next couple of videos, we're going to be doing some things to expose Home Assistant NodeRed to the internet. Something you might want to check up on, something that's probably going to be necessary for you, is we want to set up Home Assistant through duckDNS. Now what duckDNS does is it gives you a temporary domain name and allows HTTPS traffic from the internet to your Home Assistant instance. There's lots of really good tutorials online for this. There's lots of really good tutorials on YouTube, people who can do it far better than me. So I'll link to some of those in the comments of the video. If you want me to do a video on enabling HTTPS and duckDNS, I can certainly do that. It's not something that I use personally because I do have my own domain name. I have my own no IP DNS servers. But I'd be happy to do a video on duckDNS if necessary. Just let me know in the comments. I'm kind of excited going forward. We're going to be doing a series of small videos, shorter videos I should say, that focus on adding individual pieces of hardware into Home Assistant and NodeRed. Now this is hardware that I have and that's popular, like Google Homes, Sonos, Lutron, Caseta. We've already done Philips Hue. But if there's any piece of hardware that you'd specifically like to see, again, let me know in the comments. And if it's something I have or something I can borrow from a friend, I'd be happy to facilitate that. But yeah, so the next couple videos will be short ones, adding specific hardware and eventually building to more and more complex automations. So thank you very much for checking me out on a third time. Thanks to the people that subscribe. That's really awesome. I never imagined that I'd ever have subscribers on YouTube, but that's great. If you like the video, let me know. If there's anything I need to change, let me know. And I'll talk to you guys all later. Thanks. Bye-bye.